They ain't gonna like this one. Michaela Timpson, get ready. You might get a couple flagrant foul elbows thrown at your head for this one. They don't like when people are honest about the Caitlin Clark effect. Monique Billings, you have made the list. You are about to be a target in this league due to you two being truth tellers about Caitlin Clark, saying what so many vets have been in complete denial about. They have been trying to lie and pretend that it's been about everyone. It's about all of us. We all have to. No, 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 no. It's because of CC. That is why this is going on, man. We got Michaela Timpson, Monique Billings breaking it down, being honest about the Caitlin Clark effect. Pardon me.
Did you hear that? I mean, did you actually hear the absolute unflinching conviction in their voices during that media availability? Everyone right now is hyping up the Indiana Fever as the WNBA's next unstoppable super team. They are looking at the roster, looking at the free agency moves, and crowning them before the first tip-off. But let me tell you something. They are completely ignoring a ticking time bomb. What happens when the darkest, most aggressively guarded secret in WNBA locker rooms is finally dragged kicking and screaming into the light? The carefully constructed, completely fabricated PR facade was always bound to crack eventually. And when it shatters, which it is doing right now as we speak, the uncomfortable reality that the league's established veterans have been desperately trying to hide is going to be exposed for the entire world to see. What is going on, basketball family? It is your boy Dre Fiver, and welcome back to Dre Hoops, the undisputed home for the smartest, most fearless, and most brutally honest basketball analysis on the internet. If you clicked on this video looking for sugar-coated mainstream fluff, or if you want that access journalism from reporters who are simply too terrified of losing their press passes to actually criticize the old guard, do yourself a favor and click away right now. I don't do fluff. Today, we are tearing up the polite, focus-grouped press releases. We are diving deep into the advanced analytics, the locker room psychology, and exposing the raw, highly uncomfortable truth about the current landscape of women's professional basketball. For the last 18 months, my friends, the NBA's established veteran hierarchy and their closest allies in the traditional sports media have pushed a highly coordinated, almost desperate narrative. They looked right into the camera lenses, completely straight-faced, and told you that the sold-out arenas, the sudden implementation of private charter flights, and the massive unprecedented multi-million-dollar television broadcasting contracts were just a natural, organic evolution of the sport. They went on top-tier podcasts, they posted passive-aggressive tweets, they repeated the same tired, incredibly defensive mantra, the game was always this great, you're just late to the party. But honestly, anyone with an ounce of analytical intelligence, or even just a basic understanding of sports economics, knows that was a fragile illusion born entirely out of bruised egos. For 25 years, the on-court product was fundamentally similar, but the ultimate transcendent catalyst was missing. The league was completely stagnant, trapped in a seemingly endless cycle of heavy financial subsidization from the NBA. Now, that illusion of a collective, organic awakening has been absolutely decimated. And who pulled the trigger? Michaela Timpson and Monique Billings. They just committed the ultimate cardinal sin in the eyes of the old guard. They told the undeniable truth. They admitted out loud what everyone knew, but was too intimidated to vocalize. This entire financial and cultural revolution, this unprecedented mainstream relevancy, belongs to one singular person, Caitlin Clark.
Right now for us in the W, it wouldn't happen because of her, so just grateful for her, excited for her to be back and just back on the court with us. So y'all gonna see more Caitlin Clark basketball this season.
Yeah, you hear that? All this stuff that's going on, it's because of her.
Let's intricately break down the absolute bombshell dropped by Michaela Timpson, because I really don't think casual fans understand the immense internal courage it takes for a young, developing player to publicly defy the WNBA's established veteran hierarchy. Make no mistake, this league operates on a very strict, almost militaristic unwritten code. Rookies and second-year players are aggressively conditioned from day one to keep their heads down. They are told to constantly praise the pioneers who laid the groundwork, to pay homage to the legends, and to never ever overshadow the established stars who came before them. The golden unwritten rule of the W is incredibly simple. You do not credit the success of the many to the arrival of the one. But Michaela Timpson took that entire archaic rulebook, set it on fire, and threw it straight out the window. During her media session, she was asked about the current state of the league, and she flat out stated that all this stuff that's going on right now for them in the W simply would not be happening if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. Oh, guy, you have to listen to the absolute conviction in her voice when she says it. She praises Caitlin's transcendent ability to shoot the deep three, sure. She praises her elite locker room presence. But far more importantly, she credits her directly for the league's economic explosion. Dre's personal opinion right here, Timpson is doing something that veteran leadership has been terrified to do. She is living in reality. She is acknowledging that Caitlin Clark is the rising tide lifting every single boat in the financial harbor. We have to view this monumental statement through the highly critical lens of the upcoming 2026 collective bargaining agreement. The players' union is currently fighting tooth and nail for higher salaries, a massive increase in revenue sharing, and better long-term benefits. The veterans want to march into those negotiations and argue that the league as a collective whole generated this new revenue. They want to say the brand grew organically, but Timpson is bravely cutting through the political noise and stating the factual reality, the leverage the players have at the negotiation table right now. The reason the owners even have to pick up the phone. That leverage was built entirely by the viewership numbers, the jersey sales, and the sold-out ticket revenues generated by number 22.
Last year, you didn't get to play with Caitlin as much as anybody would have liked, but those moments that you did share the floor with her, the numerous hours of practice with her, what's it like to share the floor with Caitlin Clark?
It's incredible. Y'all know how Caitlin Clark plays basketball, man. It's incredible the way she plays basketball. She's able to, create her own shot, shoot the three, and just overall a great teammate. She's a great person to look up to, and all of this stuff that's going on right now for us in the W, it wouldn't happen because of her, so just grateful for her, excited for her to be back and just back on the court with us, so y'all gonna see more Caitlin Clark basketball this season.
This is a seismic shift in player media relations, guys. By saying this out loud to the press, Wnba Timpson just painted a glowing neon target on her own back for the upcoming season. Let me be real with you. Behind closed doors, the veterans who spent the entirety of last year actively trying to diminish Clark's impact through extreme physical intimidation and dismissive press conference answers are absolutely furious. They are circling the Fever matchups on their calendars right now with thick red ink. Because of her honesty, Timpson is going to face a physical gauntlet this year. She's going to get the hard fouls. She's going to catch stray elbows in the paint when the refs aren't looking. She is going to hear relentless, vile trash talk. The old guard despises when a younger player breaks ranks and disrupts the collective delusion. But you know what? Her honesty is a massive breath of fresh air for fans who actually possess common sense. While other veterans let their fragile egos block their professional blessings, Timpson proves she actually understands the harsh business metrics of modern sports. Caitlin Clark is the golden goose. Pretending otherwise is just pure, unadulterated professional jealousy. If you want the millions, you have to acknowledge who brought the checkbook. And the truth-telling did not stop with Wnba Timpson. We have to tactically and psychologically dissect the recent media availability of the Fever's newest, highly coveted free agent acquisition, Monique Billings. For months on end, every basketball analyst on television debated what specific type of veteran presence the Indiana front office desperately needed to acquire to truly unlock Caitlin Clark's ultimate ceiling. I said it on this channel 100 times. They did not just need pure talent. They needed someone entirely devoid of ego. They needed a seasoned, battle-tested player who is secure enough in her own professional identity to actively elevate a superstar point guard rather than fiercely compete with her for the mainstream spotlight. Enter Monique Billings. She is the exact perfect manifestation of that player.
Fever in the Chicago sky here from Wintrust Arena. The Fever really stretched out this one in the second half as we look at Diamond DeShields and Caitlin Clark. And Diamond with Clark, hammered. Three Sky players coming over.
Now the official is pointing to his head here, and I think they're going to look at this. To review it.
The foul, I believe, to Angel Reese. Yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor.
Her arrival in Indiana is an absolute masterclass in strategic, ego-free roster building by the front office. When reporters asked Billings about her highly scrutinized free agency process and why she ultimately chose to pack her bags for Indiana, she completely bypassed the boring, diplomatic answers that usually plague these press conferences. She didn't give the standard, "I just want to help the team win" nonsense. She pointed straight to her time playing in the unrivaled league with Kelsey Mitchell, and crucially, her incredibly productive time playing directly alongside Caitlin Clark on Team USA. Billings openly admitted that the instant offensive synergy and the undeniable chemistry she felt playing with Caitlin made signing with the Fever an absolute no-brainer. Think about the massive gravity of that public statement for a second. A highly respected, established veteran actively chose her free agency destination purely because she recognized the unparalleled basketball genius of sharing the floor with the greatest offensive engine in the history of the sport. During their time together on Team USA, Billings experienced firsthand what it actually feels like when a point guard processes the geometric layout of the court at literal hyperspeed. Let's talk about the catching problem that severely plagued the Indiana Fever last year, because it drove me absolutely insane. During Clark's rookie season, we constantly saw veteran players fumbling the basketball, missing completely wide open layups, or literally getting hit in the face with passes. Why? Because their basketball IQ simply could not keep up with Caitlin's processing speed. They did not expect the ball to arrive through tiny microscopic passing windows. They weren't ready for the absolute laser beam she was throwing. Monique Billings does not have that problem. She felt that offensive nirvana during the FIBA World Cup qualifiers. She knows exactly how to anticipate those hyperspeed passes, and she eagerly signed up for a full season of it. This revelation permanently destroys the false media narrative pushed by bitter veterans that established players do not want to play with a ball-dominant, media-centric star like Caitlin. The smartest, most efficient players in the world, the ones who actually want to maximize their field goal percentages, extend their careers, and fiercely compete for championships, are absolutely desperate to share the hardwood with her.
I think we're using training camp to see. I think we'll play great together. So that's how I see it. But however the coaches see fit, I just know I'm going to come in and do whatever's asked of me every single time. And I'm excited to play. This is a great group, so I'm just excited to contribute.
Now, let us smoothly transition into what might honestly be the single most important tactical revelation from Billings' entire interview. This is the specific throwaway comment that should have every single Indiana Fever fan jumping out of their seats with pure anticipation, and it revolves around the deeply underappreciated, highly nuanced, and brutally physical art of setting a fundamental basketball screen. When the media asked Billings about operating in complex pick-and-roll actions with elite guards, her face completely lit up with genuine excitement. She emphatically stated, "I love setting a good screen, I love getting my guards open, and I love being rewarded for the screens that I set." That single sentence is absolute music to my ears. It is music to the ears of anyone who painfully watched the Fever's offensive structural struggles during Caitlin Clark's rookie campaign. Let's be brutally honest and heavily critical for a moment, because we have to talk X's and O's. Last season, the physical screen setting for Caitlin Clark was often borderline catastrophic. It was fundamentally lazy. We watched forwards actively avoid making meaningful physical contact on ball screens. We saw players slipping way too early to hunt their own mid-range shots, completely failing to create any spatial separation for the primary ball handler. Even incredibly talented foundational pieces struggled early in the season to set the wide, crushing, immovable screens
draft,
required to truly free up a lethal perimeter threat. When you have the greatest, most statistically dominant long-distance shooter in the history of women's basketball running your offense, the absolute most important tactical action you can possibly execute is a bone-crushing screen. It is not complex geometry. If you give Caitlin Clark literally 12 inches of daylight coming off a high pick, the possession is mathematically over for the opposing defense. Splash. Count it. Monique Billings fundamentally understands this specific assignment. She is bringing a necessary violent enforcer mentality to the painted area. She intimately understands the devastating geometry of the modern offense.
Decision. So I really like the way that this league is challenging me in so many different ways. Being a leader, I'm a vet. This is my 9th season pro. So it's like being the voice of the team, being the example, all of those things, it all matters. It all counts. I'm taking this very seriously. This is another opportunity. Anytime I'm on the floor, it's an opportunity to shine. And so just excited, so grateful.
If Billings sets a heavy, legally immovable screen, she places the opposing frontcourt defender in a terrifying, inescapable torture chamber of a decision. Think about the defensive dilemma. If the opposing big drops back into the paint to protect the rim, Caitlin is immediately pulling up and launching a 30-foot dagger right in their eye. If the opposing big panics and aggressively blitzes Caitlin to take away the three-point shot, Billings knows exactly what to do. She will instantly slip directly down the wide-open middle of the painted lane, completely unguarded, and Caitlin, with her superhuman court vision, will effortlessly hit her right in perfect stride for an uncontested layup. We are going to see complex actions like the Spain pick and roll and ghost screens executed at a level the WNBA has rarely seen, simply because Monique Billings is entirely willing to be highly physical, entirely selfless, and do the dirty work. But now, we have to urgently turn our attention to the ultimate overarching question that will undeniably define the Indiana Fever's entire upcoming season. Because look, everything looks absolutely picture perfect right now on paper. The veteran chemistry is clicking beautifully. The young, fearless players are publicly speaking the truth and backing up their point guard. The roster construction finally makes logical, geometric sense around their generational superstar. The front office has gone out and provided the necessary weapons. However, the true test of a championship contending team is not found in the optimistic, rosy honeymoon phase of a training camp. Everyone is happy in April. The true test is what happens when the inevitable adversity violently hits. Because sooner or later, in the grueling physical reality of a professional season, the initial game plan will fail. Shots will stop falling. Defensive rotations will violently break down. And elite defensive teams like the Las Vegas Aces and the New York Liberty will throw absolute tactical nightmares at the Fever.